Yo, YouTube. I am in the middle of a consumer unit upgrade, right? The old board was a split load. AFDDs are a pain in my... I fitted a few AFDD boards, and I must admit, they're so much nuisance tripping. I find them a pain in the... I really don't think they're a good idea, not just yet anyway, with the way our circuits are designed and installed, or certainly retrofitting them anyway. So on this consumer unit upgrade, I'm installing, guess what? RCBOs and AFDDs. Contactum Defender board, right? Once again, supplied by the client. The client works, I can't remember exactly where they work, but they work closely with them, and he wanted his consumer unit upgraded, and he's supplied a Contactum board with all the RCBOs and AFDDs. So this isn't sponsored. This is my real honest opinion. First thing I'll say, right? It is solid. It's a really solid construction, right? Loads, not that you can see here, loads of knockouts on the top, loads and loads of them. One constructive bit of criticism I'll give them straight away is that they supply no grommet strip in the board, which I think it's such a simple, cheap cost to add a bit of grommet strip in. And they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rear entry knockouts on the back there. So I don't know why Contactum just supply grommet strip. That being said, another good bit I like, they've got the wraparound, like BG had, they've got a wraparound meter tails clamp, so you can actually remove the screw. You don't have to feed it through like you do on fuse box consumer units. You can put the tails in and then put the flap over and then secure the tails like that. I've carried out an EICR already. I've just put in all my CPCs. I'm trying to space them in between all the high loads, and also I think the client wants to do some monitoring on some of the circuits, so they want to put CT clamps in there, some Shelly ones. So I'm putting spaces between them to make it easier for them, and also for thermal derating. So I'll just start loading up all my RCBOs and AFDDs. It weighs a flipping ton, the board. This is the Contactum AFDD, and I'm fitting them all on all the socket outlet circuits in this property, and I'm fitting just miniature RCBOs for all the other lighting circuits and all the other circuits that require it. Yes. Push them through there, shall we? Sit that down there. Contactum. If you're watching, right, and you're probably not, the load terminals of your AFDDs and RCBOs, make them POSI 2. They've just got the stupid little POSI 1, you know? So I've got my little POSI slotted 1 terminal, but we all know we just fire around, at least when we're initially terminating all the conductors in the terminals, we've all got a POSI 2. Everyone's got a POSI 2. Hager, Fusebox, Luden, everyone's got a POSI 2. It's just easier because that's the one we got to hand. Sort that out. It'd be much nicer. Think of the installer, all right? Yeah. I will say the RCBO fly leads have got a nice bit of length on them, yeah, which is nice. I do love these. Obviously they're dipped so they're not insulated, but when are you working live? Hopefully never. You know what I mean? These are a lovely set of Nipex croppers. I love the little like the stripping bit on the end there. I think that's wicked. For some reason, Contactum say send you a buzz bar which is longer than you need. Make sure I'm in. Make sure I'm in. Make sure I'm in. So now I'm going to run down on the buzz bar whilst applying pressure so that it goes fully inside the terminal. Now, I know it's a small thing, but I do quite like the fact that they've got the torque settings on the buzz bar cover. I'm almost finished now. Everything's all terminated. It feels solid, not too much splitting on the top of the RCBOs and AFDDs, you know, when you get to that tightness. So let's see what the results are like, see what the AFDDs are like, get the testing on. Yeah, Not too bad, if I'm honest. The thing is, right, I'm 37, right? I've been doing this since I was 18. So just over half my life I've been doing this. And I'm not gonna lie, maybe I'm just getting old and cynical. But in the domestic sector, a board is a board is a board is a board. There's nothing that really shocks me or wows me or makes me go, oh, this is amazing. Oh my gosh, I've got to fit this. I fitted every brand you can think of. Every brand under the sun. I fitted good and bad legacy boards, new brands, and nothing surprises me. Nothing makes me go, wow. In the commercial sector, there are some great advancements with style, type, shape of the consumer units. But in the domestic market, they're all pretty much the same. So yes, this is good. It isn't good. It isn't bad. In the middle, there's nothing in the domestic sector that makes me go like, wow. Because if there was, we'd all be fitting it. They're all kind of much of muchness. We all kind of like work it out based on perhaps budget or something like that. Or we have one that we really like, or the one that a wholesaler pushes us, you know. I really like Hager. I like Luden. For me, I can't get hold of this. This is only from TLC, I think, in Bristol. My wholesaler stock Luden, Hager, and Fusebox. So I tend to use that. And I'm sure you folks are the same. You just fit kind of what they supply, and you get a favorite. And even then, after a while, like I've fallen out of love with Fusebox for a little bit. I'm just kind of fallen out of love with that. I'm just not into it at the moment. So nothing surprises me anymore. They're all the same. Right, with the main earthing conductor disconnected, we're going to check our external earth fault loop impedance. 0.17 ohms, and prospective earth fault current is 1.34 kA. However, I'm going to reconnect the main earthing conductor and do it again with all the parallel paths in play. Current and resistance are inversely proportionate. Hence, for example, when you have a TT system and the resistance is really high, you have a really low fault current, right? Which is why we need additional protection and yada yada by RCDs. So I'm going to connect up the main earthing conductor and put it back into the board. Right. And now we'll perform it again with all the parallel paths, and the resistance will probably go down, which means the prospective earth fault current will go up. Even with all the science and the maths behind it, it's about the same. Another thing, one thing I'll say about Contactum as well, I don't know why, but they've got a 63 amp, a C63 amp 60898 that feeds their surge protective device. It just seems unnecessary to me, but all right, they've deemed it so. And they've got a little bit of 6mm between the MCB and the surge protective device. Let's run through our RCD testing. I'll do the test first, RCD test, and then I'll do the functional test. You get it a lot with old 61008s where they're sticky on the contacts and it doesn't go on your test. But when you press the test button, it then goes. Some people think, oh yeah, well I'll do the functional test first, free up the contacts, and then test it. But really, you shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't be doing that. You should test it first. If it doesn't rupture, it doesn't open, then there's something wrong with it. If an RCD fails on the test, you just replace it, don't you? Rather than trying to save it, make it last a little bit longer by freeing the contacts up a little bit and then retesting it. 28.4, 38.5. It's going to be our highest reading, isn't it? 38.5. You see that? The arc fault detective device here, the instructions here for this particular brand, Contactum. No fault should just be, I mean, this could be in color, right? You could put this in color, couldn't you? Contactum, this could be in color. I guess that means green, and a self-test fault is flashing green, and an over voltage fault is 3 green flashes, 1.5 seconds of nothing, and then 3 green flashes. Parallel arc fault, 2 flashes, 1.5 seconds gap, 2 flashes. I'm assuming green, there's no other colors. Some of the other brands have like an orange and a red color. And then series arc fault is flash, I assume a green flash, 1.5 second gap, and then a green flash. And after 25 seconds, it should be solid green, is what I'm assuming. But you could make it a bit more clearer, Contactum, in my opinion, for the sake of a green, you know, if that is green or orange or red, you know. Like Crabtree, I think, has got a flashing orange, or Fusebox is flashing something before it then goes to a different color. But oh well, what do I know? 49.9. Clearly there's some load on there. 499. 499. That's on the smoke detector circuit, so probably some of the electronic components will throw the result. Or not throw it, but just, they've been pretty uniform. 38, if you have a look down here, you see I've got 37, 8, 38, 27, 35, 38, 35. They're all kind of uniformish. All right, and the only places where we've got wild results are stuff like we've got load connected, because when I've done the test, I've removed everything, so you see the smokes are permanently connected, so the components will be doing that, as long as it's not over our permitted values. The first one, 26.8, first one always feels and sounds a little bit floppy, but after that, it's a solid clunk. There you go. Cool. Right, functional test. So ×1 has got us tripped within 300 milliseconds on a TN system. At ×1, at ×5, I think it's 40 milliseconds. 27.9. 27.9 is probably going to be our highest reading. 27.9, quick test. 27.9. Right, main earthing conductor, the gas protective bonding conductor is labelled. That is unknown. Their water incoming supply is plastic, but I can't locate a BS951 clamp. I can't see a bond. I can't see this, the other end of this anywhere, so I've kept it connected. You never know. That when they did this, perhaps they did bond the water and it's since been changed to plastic, but yeah. That's all done. Let's get the lid on. Let's get all this powered up. Then we'll get our labels on there. Oh, I've forgotten. Fire suppression device. It's in the van. Let's go and grab that and get it in. Fire suppression device, as standard. Let's get the cover on. Like so. Oh. There we are. Wraps around the top. Hey, that wasn't too bad. Self-holding lid. It's quite neat. I'm not going to lie, it looks quite neat. You know, I quite like the colour there and that, which, well, I'm actually going to change. The client's provided me with a lock, so I'm actually going to put a lock on this, but it looks quite neat. It's a bit boxy and square, almost like the Schneider Easy 9 boards, you know what I mean? Let's turn it all on. There goes the alarm. I'll go and reset the code. Contactum do actually make their own membrane grommets, which is nice. And I didn't use it on this particular job, but they do also make their own standoff bracket, which is really nice. So yeah, they have thought about it. I can see they've thought about it, and they've got some, you know, they've got some decent gear, that, you know, accessories and stuff. So, or basically the same as most other brands. So it's nice that they're up in their game and catching on, you know. But yeah.